Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the matchup that has been set up at the end of the last manga chapter, which is the battle of Shikamaru versus Amado. And this one intrigues me because this isn't a battle of two mountain-busting fighters. This is a battle that has been brewing for a long time between the two biggest brains that we have in the world of Naruto, which is Amado being the mad scientist whose research is light years ahead of Konoha, and Shikamaru is the brilliant strategist known for his 200 IQ and his many brilliant plans. Ever since the two of them have begun engaging with each other, it's been a quiet, open chess game between the two, with each maintaining leverage over the other and using deception and sneaky tactics to get the upper hand over the other. But with Amado's latest reveal in the manga chapter that he knew Kawaki was lying about being Naruto's son, and that he knew his memory and other people's memories have been tampered, Amado might have mistakenly placed himself in a situation where he's checkmated himself after 3.5 years of a long game with Shikamaru. Allow me to explain where Amado might have gone wrong here. Previously, Amado was positioned as someone who seemed to always be one step ahead of Shikamaru right from the get-go. From placing the fake bomb around Shikadai's neck to make Shikamaru emotional and easier to manipulate during his interrogation with Naruto, Sasuke, and Shikamaru when Amado was trying to gain citizenship into Konoha and get protection as a Konoha citizen. When Shikamaru and Amado were alone on top of that Hokage rooftop during the events of the Code Assault arc, Shikamaru flat out got pissed off at Amado and said that he can't help but feel that every single thing that has occurred has been all part of Amado's plan. To which Amado said, hey, in these last 6 months, even I couldn't have predicted everything that's happened. We all know that's BS, but Shikamaru, like us, had no way to actually prove it. Shikamaru couldn't prove it, but as someone who is a genius himself, he was able to see all sides of the game board, and just as Asuma said in Naruto Part 1, he thinks several hundreds of moves ahead in advance. This was the first time that Shikamaru has ever had a true rival, someone who is smarter than him, beating him in a game of strategy and manipulative attrition. Sure, Shikamaru's had moments, like when he was able to use Amado as bait to lure Code into Konoha and use that moment to get intel from a very desperate Amado, but each and every turn of the way, Amado has been able to find his footing and regain the upper hand when you least expected it, like when he pulled up into Konoha with Ada and Damon at his side, and when Ada flew off with Damon, he's just casually flexing on Shikamaru like, oh, you didn't know that she could fly? Fam, if you think that's something special, wait until you see what Boruto and Kawaki can do as Otsutsuki. They're going to be flying around here like it's nothing. And then he proceeded to drop the bombshell of the Otsutsuki god onto everyone. Amado has continuously outsmarted Shikamaru. He's never had a rival like this in the Naruto world prior to this. Some people might say, oh, well, Temari was smart as Shikamaru. No, Shikamaru was clearly smarter than Temari. Their match in the Chunin exams clearly proved that. The way that she was fangirling over this dude's strategy skills in the 4th Ninja War proves that Shikamaru, in terms of strategy, was on a whole different level than Temari. Not to disrespect Temari, but they're not in the same tier. Amado has continuously stayed one step ahead of Shikamaru in knowledge and maintaining leverage, like when he revealed to Shikamaru, hey, I have a shutdown code that can be used on Kawaki, and we saw how visibly upset that Shikamaru got that Amado was still keeping secrets. Just when you think that you got Amado cornered, the guy pulls out yet another hidden trap card that you didn't know that he had. Yet this has led to Amado being overconfident, in my opinion, and this has led to him potentially getting checkmate or potentially getting in the process of being checkmated. This time is different than all the other times that he's engaged with Shikamaru, because Shikamaru back then, he had no real power. He was second in command to Naruto. Naruto was the Hokage and Shikamaru was the right-hand man. What Naruto said, it went as law, and Shikamaru could only offer his counsel in the process, but ultimately, he had to defer to Naruto. If Naruto said that we're going to do a holiday where everyone has to eat instant ramen, Shikamaru could say, hey, that's probably not the healthiest idea, but if Naruto signed that into law, Shikamaru had to go along with it. In their world right now, everyone believes that Naruto is dead and that Boruto killed him. That is what led to Shikamaru becoming the 8th Hokage. Shikamaru no longer has Naruto keeping a leash on his neck because Naruto, being the gullible idiot that he is, the guy who loves to give people second chances and call them the coolest guy ever and give them all the benefit of the doubt, Naruto was no longer there to be duped by Amado, who was taking advantage of that soft side of Naruto. Shikamaru holds more leverage now because he has the Hokage position. It's important to remember that Amado's citizenship with Konoha and all the access to his research is contingent upon the Hokage upholding that agreement, which Shikamaru can now threaten to revoke. He has enough leverage to force Amado into an interrogation to start speaking with him in a more aggressive way because Naruto took a more passive way. Hey Amado, can you not maybe lie to me this time? No, Shikamaru will hold this dude up by his neck, shove a shadow up his ass, and proceed to interrogate him. This is the one time where Amado doesn't have someone he can tell a sad story to about my daughter this and my daughter that, and drone on and on and on about that same story the way that Cody Rhodes drones on about finishing his story and about his dead father, Dusty Rhodes. Shikamaru holds leverage now to use the very things against him that Amado needs, mainly his daughter, and that allows Shikamaru to repay the threat that Amado posed when they first met, which is Amado used Shikamaru's son to force him to comply, and Shikamaru now has the final remaining clone of Amado's daughter to force him into compliance as well. Konoha has a shutdown code on Delta that they can use. However, this is where Amado versus Shikamaru gets very interesting. Amado is clearly someone, he doesn't just have a plan A, he has a plan B, C, D, and E. The idea that he hasn't turned over all his data and that he doesn't have something built into the system to wipe it off of the Konoha servers in the event that he wants to betray them, it isn't something that we can discount because Amado is crafty enough to pull something like this off. It wouldn't surprise me if Amado had a few more cards left to play that he hasn't used, but things have changed now. If he's going to run game on Shikamaru, he has to be a lot more careful now because this isn't our sweet, lovable, idiot 7th Hokage that he's dealing with. Shikamaru is an 8th Hokage who has a cold calculation of someone like Tobirama and isn't afraid to go scorched earth in order to show a test of strength like the prime 3rd Hokage did when he started the 2nd Ninja War and started the 3rd Ninja War. The 3rd Hokage wasn't always the sweet, lovable 69-year-old Hokage that we saw in Naruto Part 1. Amado has something to lose with his daughter, and he has something to lose with Kawaki. With Kawaki being the king on his chessboard, he has to protect, because if he's been this straightforward with us, his daughter is the one who matters the most to him. His last option to revive her is the Karma Seal that Kawaki has. If he loses Kawaki, he loses the game because he loses the way to revive his daughter's soul, which is his endgame. Again, that's only if you take what he says at face value. It's these very strategic moments and the weight behind them and the weight behind the deception that make me fall in love with Naruto in the first place. It wasn't the allure of seeing two 13-year-old kids in Naruto and Sasuke beating the crap out of each other at the Final Valley at the end of Naruto Part 1. It wasn't Naruto versus Gaara. It wasn't Rock Lee versus Gaara. It was the very subtle aspects and the deception that we saw in fights like Shikamaru versus Temari, and most importantly, Kakashi versus Zabuza, where Kakashi was clearly trying to psych out his opponent, and Zabuza, on his own, in his own way, was trying to use deception during the rematch to get the upper hand on Kakashi. Those are the things that make me fall in love with Naruto as a franchise. It's why I don't mind that Boruto Naruto Next Generations and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex has changed the way that power has been expressed, where we don't have these over-the-top displays of power and battles like Naruto and Toneri, where they're fighting on the moon, where it feels less like a Naruto fight and it feels more like a Dragon Ball fight. If I want to see Dragon Ball, I'll go watch Dragon Ball. Bringing it back down to taijutsu and the occasional use of ninjutsu and the reliance on deception and trickery and the mind games, it is what I loved about Naruto in the first place. It's why I prefer the first 27 volumes of Naruto to volumes 28 to 72, which is better known as Naruto Shippuden. I think part 2 is overrated because I wasn't a fan of the gradual increasing of the destructive output and how over the top the fights were getting, even though part 2 does have some of the most strategic fights in the series, like Sasuke versus Data, which remains one of my favorite fights in the entire Naruto manga. I know that's probably a hot take. I know it's probably going to be some of you guys calling for my head with pitchforks down below. That being said, I am curious to see how you guys feel about this looming Shikamaru versus Yamato conflict that we have brewing. Also, make sure to click the link to watch the chapter review if you haven't already.